Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. It is going to be the very last Twitter Reacts of this Spurs season. We might do some in the summer based off some player news or something funny maybe happens along the way, and maybe we get plenty of good news hopefully during the summer. Then that way we could do some of them. But it could be the very last Twitter Reacts for some time, so really have appreciated all of your guys' support throughout this time, throughout this campaign. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and have appreciated that you guys have tuned in and given this show a lot of support. Unfortunately, Dave will not be joining me. He's off enjoying a vacation with his missus in Manchester. Very well deserved and very well needed, if I may add. So please, everybody, do wish him well in the comments. But let's get straight into it, please. And we are going to get shamelessly first to talk about our man Emerson Royale, and Rocco pointing out this, being Emerson Royale expert over here, I'm surprised I didn't even notice this. I guess I didn't really watch the Man City game. We were doing our own watch along, and he says I'll always remember that Emerson did it first. Insane influence, incredible influence on the game, really, I must say. Rocco, I think he'll leave as an icon, leave as a legend. I'm wondering if FIFA will even reward him for right? Yeah, kind of his impact on the game. He seems to just leave, every place he goes, with the, people with the smiles on their faces. Just a top man, Emerson Royale. And I think I'll leave, kind of in a separate video, perhaps for the members or something like that, my shameless love for the guy. If people didn't already realize it already, but Phil Foden doing his best to imitate our top man. Came from the lane saying the last clip of Romero is him kissing the badge. And if you didn't see Romero's compilation, I mean, it actually holds back a little. I think it, was a bit more in the dramatic kind of, director's cut kind of editing style. I wish there were a few more crunches, a few more kind of, nasty challenges thrown in there. But he went for the goals. He scored plenty of them. But yeah, he seemed to be more preferential of scoring or putting a lot more of his goals in the compilation, which, it makes a lot of sense. He was nearly one of our top scorers this season. And also as well, his farewell message or his kind of summary message to the fans, I also thought was top class. So Cudi Romero, I think somebody who should be a future captain of this club. Let me know in the chat, everybody in the comments, please. AK providing his thoughts on Brennan Johnson here. Please let me know, everybody, your thoughts on his season. He says 15 goals and assists in 26 starts. Only Cole Palmer on 11 and Ollie Watkins on 12 assists have more. Good debut season at the club. I think it's 5 goals and 10 assists that he had in all competitions or in the Premier League. And, I think when you look at that on paper, you're not that, kind of angry with it, but you do kind of look at some of the missed chances, some of the missed opportunities to still get more assists, you could say. Oftentimes his influence on the game really fades, which is kind of something really separate from stats entirely. So he's a guy that has really gotten me excited, someone who I've really gotten behind at one point because I kind of like the housery attitude of Brennan Johnson, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm always a sucker for that. It's just that his influence in games and his hot and cold kind of nature, at least that's how I see him, really has frustrated me. And I think towards the tailor end or towards the back end of this season, it's just been, even more kind of, I think, of his kind of cold form, let's say, of what I was kind of alluding to earlier, on a more consistent basis, sadly. And I think we really needed him to step up on a few of those games where we really were getting pummeled. And I think him and Kulusevski, I'm not going to, give him much of a pass, but Kulusevski as well, I also thought really frustrated me. But let me know your thoughts on Brennan Johnson's season. Let me know if Dave and I have been too harsh on him. I definitely could agree with some of that. But he has been a guy that's sort of, confused me and, frustrated me. I'm not sure if it's been the best debut of seasons, but it's definitely a better debut season than plenty of other players. But let's keep this moving. Shan says, I'm actually looking forward to the Europa League next season. Some top teams in there and no Champions League drop down this next season. Very good point by Shan. And I must say, I'm a sucker for the Europa League. I absolutely love it. I think it has that kind of weird, I don't know if X factor is the right word, but has that sort of unique element to the game where you get these, FC care bags and you get these teams that maybe you don't think of often that actually will really punch above their weight or actually might just be secretly very good teams that not many people are really well aware of, that aren't really talked about because they're just playing in leagues that no one thinks of, or even maybe just not teams that ever really, reach these kind of heights or play at this sort of level. And I do really look forward to the teams that we come across in the Europa League. I do think it's improved kind of year on year, and feel like we're going to give it a good go. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to win it, though, because you look at all the English teams that have failed in the past. I wonder if it's going to really be any different for us, but big up to Shan, really love that. And then Dan just sort of taking some appreciation of kind of the Arsenal kind of misery, but maybe the repetition of the misery and the copium, as I've put it in the past. And don't get me wrong, I'm plenty guilty of the copium as well. Matters THFC saying Spurs in the sun on the last day of the season. Dave and I were talking about this. I think we do turn into prime España on these days. We love to get pummeled, at least in the last 2 or 3 games, or end up really kind of crushing our spirits in the last few games with some defeats. But then we'll always end, as we should, on a lovely kind of 4-0, 5-1 result against a team that's already been relegated. That's nothing to play for. It is truly beautiful. Kane from the lane saying Pedro Porro, Mickey Van de Ven on 5 Premier League non-penalty goals since February, and Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard only on 4 Premier League non-penalty goals since February. I'll be honest, I wonder if that even compares well with some of our other Spurs players, because it really has been our defenders carrying us in the goals department of recent. Simon Yamain saying Son put up some of his best numbers ever in a Spurs shirt this season, 17 goals and 10 assists. Should tell you how odd the discourse around him has been at times this season. Now imagine how much better it could get as this team improves. World-class player and leader. Listen, with Sonny, it's not even been his best campaign yet. He's still in, I think, the top 5, top 6 most goals and assists combined this year, and he hasn't even taken many penalties, as we would know as well. So for me, I just think Sonny, the conversation of selling him is just absolutely ludicrous. And I'll take it a step further, actually, and this might be a little bit petty, so I apologize here, everybody. A lot of people like Ben Davies, maybe even Eric Dyers, guys like that, that we've always kind of felt like, are okay to stick around because they understand the club, they understand the culture kind of thing. I'd argue Sonny's actually one that, has actually proven himself as a player at Spurs more often on a consistent basis, carried us on a consistent basis, and is more deserving of that kind of maybe sentiment or treatment of, kind of carrying him around for, however long he can kind of sustain at least a high level, kind of like a Marco Royce maybe is a very recent example, maybe like Sonny could be. Let me know your thoughts on that, everybody, in the comments, please. And then BT saying Kulusevski on the final day away at already relegated teams. Loves to stat pad Kulusevski on the last day, but we're all here for it. We definitely needed the win, and Kulusevski delivered. Matters THFC saying, who's holding us back from winning this competition? Spurs. I mean, we've had some embarrassing dropouts in the past now, haven't we? And I really wouldn't like to repeat that under Postecoglou. Perhaps it could be different, though, with a different style of play. Joe says, final day Kulu, something similar there. Exactly right. He does turn into the best and, prime version of himself, but could also be because he's playing down the middle, playing as a striker. Let me know, people. Luca THFC said, we kept a clean sheet. We did save a clean sheet for the final day. I think we said that in the creator predictions to some people, where some people really were going for the 3-1s, but I think somebody, maybe like a Dermatron, perhaps said that we would go for a clean sheet on the final day, which I do like that we saved it on the final one against Sheffield United. It really shouldn't have been a clean sheet, let's be honest. Probably should have been like a 5-3 kind of game. It was a very strange game. Very, very strange when it came to the finishing department. As per usual with the Spurs games, really, this season. I'm glad it's all over. Cho says, Sonny with his 3rd season with double-digit goals and assists in the Prem. Like I said, I think underappreciated player maybe at times, which maybe is wrong to say because, he is appreciated by so many, but it has felt like of recent, we aren't really appreciating the real contributions that he does make on a regular basis for this team. Luca THFC says more Bergval, Donley, Divine minutes in Europa League on an away day to Kazakhstan. Listen, I'm looking forward to seeing the Bergval, seeing the Donley sauce, seeing the Divine. If he ends up, I think he might get another a loan move. That probably could happen. I've heard that from at least Paul O'Keefe, maybe put that in a Twitter reply somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. But Mikey Moore looks like he is being given those minutes, and hasn't really been playing in the youth teams as much. I think he's headed off to the under-17s Euros. Congrats to him, as well as Callum Olasesi. But Bergvall, Moore, Donley, definitely hope to see them come up against some of these Europa League teams. But we also have to mix it in, right, with a bit of strength. Definitely have to mix it in with a bit of strength. Don't want to end up being embarrassed because we do want to take that competition seriously, and I would like to go far in it. Billy says, wouldn't be a Spurs end of season if we weren't making a relegated side look like prime Barcelona, now would it? I mean, it ended up turning out a bit different, and they didn't get the goals that Sheffield probably should have scored. Thank God, Billy. Kieran says, Poro touching the badge. I need that clip. There you go, Kieran. You have been plugged. And then we have as well THFC Matthew saying, this season could have been so different if this game didn't exist. I think he's referring to the Chelsea game. It did really kill momentum. Of course, it had to do with the way we just watched that game kind of collapse in front of our eyes. Even the suspensions alone, were kind of killers of momentum. But it was also, I think we know, the injuries, right? If that game didn't happen, do we still finish in the top 4? That's a hard one. Because, Aston Villa has still made such a huge climb. But I'd like to think that maybe we still would have finished in the top 4. I don't think we end up competing for, the top 3 with Liverpool or, competing up with Arsenal or the way with Man City. I think we do kind of still go through some dips. But yeah, I feel like we might make the top 4 if things went differently there. Let me know, everybody. Let me know. Josh says, Tottenham Tears, Spurs Express, Paulo Keefe, Alistair Gold for the next 3 months. It is going to be absolute glory. It is going to be sauce. It's just a different vibe. It's a different transition. I'm looking forward to it, Josh. And then Hotspur Report says, official, Ange Postecoglou is the first manager to complete a full season at THFC since Pochettino in 2018-19. A great first season. Hooray! Well done, Ange. We really have become a Watford of recent, and I would love to break that trend. Really would love to break that trend. So I hope we do. I really hope we do. Tottenham Hotspur posting about their trip to Melbourne, and kind of, you don't always think of, these guys really are just so well treated, for the most part by the staff, by the kind of, medical department, everything, they are really well catered to. But this is a moment where I'm not really too sure, how comfortable I feel about seeing these guys just have to be shipped off on a plane all the way to Australia. I've never even flown that far in my life, if I remember. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of makes me kind of grimace. Spurs, though, I agree with Ange, haven't really played that much this season. It's just kind of the distance, but there's so many great Australian fans out there that deserve to see them play. I'm a Yank so far away as well. I would love to see them play at any point. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on it. I feel a little bad for them, but they also haven't played that much this season. So, is it really that big of a deal? It's hard to even tell, if they're being sort of sarcastic as well, like some of the Spurs players. It was kind of hard. Sorry, I didn't mean to click on that there. But Billy, let me kind of scroll back up to catch up with the rest here. But yeah, so many of those Australian fans going to that, which I'm really excited to see that they get to see Spurs play. Billy says the last dance. Imagine the no-look pass he is cooking up in his mind right now. The last Emerson Royale game, the last Højbjerg game, the last Emerson game. It's just a double whammy for me. It's a double punch in the gut. Pop Matasar giving his well wishes to the end of the season. Happy to finish the season with a win, home and away. Our support has been amazing. Thank you all. I mean, he's been amazing, Pop Matasar, and has been discovered really under Ange. It's sad that Antonio Conte really never gave him that chance, and we have to consider that with Ange. Some of the guys that he's given this freedom, this confidence, these roles, these, kind of trust, right? Does Antonio Conte do that as much as I liked Conte? I'm not sure if he does. And especially guys like Pop Matasar, who were neglected really by guys like Conte. So, fair play to Ange, and I'm looking forward to more. Coys Daniel says that pass from Sonny, I mean, it was absolutely delicious now, wasn't it? But what I would say is I've seen this pass from Sonny, I think a couple of times, if not more, on the left wing this season. Perhaps it's been ignored. from some people. Maybe it's been ignored. Simon Yamain says only one defender had more goals and assists than Porro this season, 3 goals and 10 assists in his first full season in the Premier League while playing in a position he's never played before. I think Pedro Porro, all he knows is bangers. Every time he scores, he just absolutely leathers it. And then we know he's the postman. Puts it on a dime. That's what Dave and I gave him that nickname from the get-go straight away when we saw, what this guy could do, what he could bring. He's the postman, always delivers. Pedro Porro. I expect even better seasons from here on out from him. Billy saying Kulu harvesting his goals and assists in this game to keep that Juve fan in the mud. Love to see it. Not even sure of the, spat that Billy even is referring to, but, I just love that this guy just has everybody. And, it seems like everybody's in his head rent free, or the other way around, I think it's supposed to be, but he just absolutely rattles everybody, this guy Billy. Tottenham Tears saying players headed to Australia. Yeah, I think the players that we're going to be missing though are Romero and is it another Copa America player? Could be Gia La Salsa or somebody like that I think could also be missing. Maybe a Højbjerg I think is missing as well. I think that's another guy that's missing. So I think for the most part, though, we are taking a very fun team, and you do see Tyrese Hall on the list. That will be great. Santiago, hopefully he gets minutes, but really looking forward to seeing Tyrese Hall. I have a real guilty pleasure watching that guy. He's just such a terrific talent. And Jamie Donnelly, who sadly couldn't play in that last game. That was really unfortunate to see. He says, well done today, lads. Spurs were playing, I think, right before we ended up playing our last game of the season, and they're making it to another final. They get another opportunity, and Jamie Donnelly, I hope he gets the opportunity to participate in it, and so does Tyrese Hall, if they do get that chance. I really do. Coco says, Brooks definitely punched Son, but after VAR, they didn't even downgrade it to a yellow. They just gave him nothing. I mean, I didn't even think that was the worst of it this season, if I'm going to be honest, Coco. And Son didn't even really seem that, perplexed or that kind of, I don't know. He didn't seem that angered by it, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, didn't seem that angered by it. Pedro Porro giving his well wishes. We finished the season on a high. Thank you, as always, Spurs official fans. Happy to be part of this special club. Love that, Pedro. And love to see that he's holding the badge. Romero and him. Just falling in love with these guys. I think they're kind of some of my players of the season with Van de Ven. Just the the passion they've shown, just the togetherness they have, just the individual quality they all have. Just loving these guys. Billy saying Porro is some player. Was a stretch of the season where he's our best player, but we burn him out in the end. Need a proper rotation option. Definitely agree with that. And I feel like we have so many options for left back. We have Robinson, Ayet Nouri, some others like, Kirkash was brought up, I think, before. But with right back, we don't have so many options that seem to come to mind. Let me know in the comments if you have some easy ones. Talking THFC, looking forward to being back in the Europa League. Simon Yamain saying, so much I can say about 23-24. I could talk about how we improved despite losing Kane. I could talk about how excited I am about how we play in the future. But all I got is this. I love this team, coach, and I feel connected to this club again. Worth more than anything. Come on, you Spurs. Simon, he's a poet of the Spurs community, poet of the Spurs online community. Johnny H. Pointing out that Dragusin has shown the Spurs players how to defend Vicario at corners. Dragusin's strength here, everybody. I think it's very, very underrated. Just look at this. I mean, his strength, he can just throw people. A guy can just throw people whenever he wants. I think that's his biggest asset. He just can, bully people whenever he wants to. I've just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it, Dragusin. Just throwing people to the ground, just showing that strength. Look at that man. Just look at that man. And Apollo saying there will never be no one like him. Emerson Royale, that was just iconic. Emerson here. The lovely bit of skill to unnecessarily take it past his man, only to then to be kind of, rudely clipped here. But then I love the late reaction in such a Brazilian diving manner. Just the housery, the random, moments of skill to try to show off. I really will miss the guy. I really will miss the guy, everybody. Simon Yamain saying, did I just see the last Emerson step over in a Spurs shirt? I think we might have. Ollie saying, for sale, celebration arch, never used. Let us know, everybody, anybody knows an Arsenal fan or someone who might find use in that, or maybe even a Spurs fan who wants to do something with it. Billy said this is such a good representation of his time at Spurs. We just need one last compilation to seal the perfect ending. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Retire the 12 shirt. Absolutely retire the 12 shirt. Absolutely. I think it's no question. And then Mikey Moore, absolute congratulations to him breaking into the team, getting minutes, and on the plane as well. And he says, unbelievable way to end the season, getting some more minutes. Thank you for all the support this season, Mikey. Thank you to you, man, for being a special talent and coming through our Spurs Academy, and looking forward to even more, looking forward to what you can do in next season if you give that chance. Would love to see that. But really big up to Mikey Moore, and I think we'll end it there. Thanks to everybody for a wonderful season. Thanks to everybody for wonderful Twitter reacts. Have appreciated these. Have really loved doing these. Sorry that it's just me on the last and final one. Dave is off enjoying his vacation, and I think we had to just sort of get it done. But yeah, everybody, we'll leave you there. Come on, you Spurs. In the big Ange we trust. On to the summer. Look forward to plenty more content with you guys. And we never stop. We'll see you later.